My name is Jose Ramirez. What I'm going to talk to you today is about veteran transition programs and resources that are available for veterans that have recently been discharged from the military. What is veteran transition? Well, veteran transition means that there's a time frame between the last couple of months you're going to be in service to get you prepared, get you ready to never again put on the uniform again and become a civilian. What is a veteran? People might ask that question. It doesn't really mean that you have to go to war, go to combat, none of that stuff. It just means that you are used to a certain type of system, structure, that is way different from being a civilian. Okay? So when you talk to somebody and they're a veteran, understand that doesn't necessarily mean that they are a combat veteran. They just mean that at one point in their life, they say that I will promise and I swear to protect the Constitution of the United States from both enemies, foreign or domestic, and that's what they swore to do, and that's what they did. Okay, so understand that terminology. Okay, so what is available for these veterans as they're coming out of the service? I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about the Department of Veteran Affairs. It's the most common and noticeable one that everybody can relate to, or everybody knows, right? The VA, that's what it's called. There's a hospital here downtown Phoenix on 7th and Indian School that people think that's the only available resource that is here. But that's not true. There's also vet centers. There's also therapy clinics, group clinics, outreach programs, and a lot of events that have to do with getting a veteran back into talking to a community, socializing with civilians, so they could slowly but surely get out of that mentality that they have to follow a structure that they were once used to living by. Okay, there's also the BFW, which is Veteran of Foreign Wars. There's also support groups, American Legion, United Way. There's a lot of resources out there for veterans as they're coming out of the military that they could use to get ready for civilian life. Okay, next one that's really important, like I said earlier, I mentioned about what is out there. Well, one of the things that's important with everything that's available as far as the resources for veterans is start the treatment prior to them being discharged, right? Is that really going on or not? The veteran itself has to be available for that treatment, meaning I know I'm going to get out of the military 6 months out. I need to start getting therapy, getting myself prepared, going to school, getting myself educated, so when I do happen to have those discharge papers, I'm not lost and not knowing where to start or where to go. Okay, so continuous treatment starts prior to you guys, these veterans being discharged from the military, and makes it a smooth transition going from wearing a uniform, taking it off, and understanding that you will never be back in that uniform mentality, that structure mentality. Now you're a civilian. It's a lot different. It takes a lot of time for people to get rewired, per se, and become just a civilian like everybody else. Okay, one of the things that's important, why this continuous treatment is important, is because once you're discharged and you have those discharge papers and you're walking out of a military installation, then it's too late. There's a lot of things that could happen that could lead into what you guys see here. Homelessness, right? That's one of the biggest problems that every city across the United States has to encounter, right? But there's ways, there's methods, there's resources available that prevent our veterans to end up being homeless, all right? The city of Phoenix, and along with the city of Salt Lake, according to Washington Post, are the ones that have provided enough grants, enough money from the state or local charities that have done away with over 90% of homelessness here with our veterans. You still see homeless people around in the city, but as far as veterans, that population is slowly coming to an end. So the city of Phoenix and Salt Lake are those pioneers that are leading the way on this challenge, and they're doing a great job with the money, with the charities, with the volunteer groups that have helped a lot of veterans get out of the streets. Treatment, once again, like I said earlier, there's behavioral health and mental health facilities around the cities, housing, soup kitchens, and also the hospitals. You know, there's also outreach programs, like I mentioned earlier, that could get these guys out of the streets and back to get them back on their feet. Training, on-the-job training, it's another part of the treatment that, thank you. That's it.
It feels so rude to be like in the middle of it. Give him like 20 seconds.